So we dig as we go into Moon Knight. Episode 2. Have you both seen Moon Knight episode 2?
Yes.
Titled
Seen it
Summon
twice.
the fucking suit. Without the fucking. Let's summon the suit.
What the fucking Moon Knight? No.
Summon the suit.
Yes, we have.
I'll tell you about this show and how great it is so far. They giving me more characters. They're giving us more characters, more fucking questions. That's just pulling me in.
Yep.
They're answering a little bit of questions, but then you're asking more that pulls you in, which is great. I enjoyed the Indiana Jones type vibe of action. I got a little bit in here.
Yes.
The Moon Knight chase scene. We're gonna talk about that. God dang, they took every. It's like they was like, let's get great cinematography on every shot of him running on his roof or whatever he got to do. Make every scene in this running of Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Great. Jumping across rooftops. Awesome. And then Mark Spector's wife, Layla.
Just
a fucking G.
ass kicker, man.
Yes. That's what we need by our side. Just knocking mugs out. I was like, oh, okay. She ain't no damsel in distress and that like that.
Yes.
She's stretching motherfuckers out. So, what are some of your highlights and how y'all feel about this second episode we got? Any highlights from it or anything like that y'all can think of? Any more questions that y'all got from it? Or any questions answered? Anything like that?
Overall thoughts.
Overall thoughts. So one highlight that I want to talk about is it was kind of a quick moment. It can be missed, but part of Moon Knight's thing in the comics is that his fighting style is very abnormal, and he will literally just take punches to the face to get close enough to you to take you down. Yeah, that's his. So there's literally a panel where they talk to Taskmaster, and they're like, "Have you copied Moon Knight style?" And he's like, "I don't want to." And they're like, "Why?" Because he takes too many hits on purpose.
That was in the comic?
Yeah, he's literally like, "Hell no, I'm not copying him. That's the worst."
I like that.
Like, cause he literally, and in the scene where the jackal is chasing him across the rooftops, the way he eventually gets him is he baits him in, then he jumps, catches him mid-air, stabs him on the thing, and then if you notice, after he puts him on the pike, he doesn't superhero land. He hits the side of a freaking monument and falls to the ground. He was totally willing to take that hit to take out the jackal, and now it's exactly his fighting style. And so I love that they threw that in there. They didn't just have him superhero land and was like super good.
Superhero landing.
Yeah.
Mr. Knight, superhero landing. Mr. Knight. Oh my goodness. Do y'all? Steven is in control of Mr. Knight.
Yeah.
Is that
Correct.
what y'all got?
Yeah. Steven was in control.
Which is different. That's a Marvel Universe retcon.
Is that what it is? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Because in the comics,
It's a whole
Mr.
nother-
Knight is a whole nother persona. He's like the Batman detective persona. And so Stephen Grant and Mr. Knight are not associated in the comics.
Right.
They have made, which is a brilliant decision, to change the costumes and basically have the Mr. Knight persona be connected to Stephen Grant and the Moon Knight be connected to Mark Spector. Because now, going forward, whichever suit we see, we immediately know who's in control.
And who's
So instead
Which
of
is
like
brilliant.
5 different
Yeah.
personalities?
Yeah, Mr. Knight and Stephen Grant were 2 of the 5, basically. They were just separate completely.
Something like, so, I mean, the question that came up with that was just like, how did he get the Mr. Knight suit and not know that he can do that? And, you know.
I mean,
he says it.
He's just saying, he just keeps hearing Mark say, "Get the suit, get the suit, get the
Layla
suit."
summon the suit.
Yeah.
And he thinks of a 3-piece suit.
Yeah. So I mean, he might be. The more he learns about Khonshu and like how much power he has or whatever, maybe he's somehow able to tap into it.
Right. Okay.
More and more, the more he learns. So that could be like, narratively.
Yeah, that's what
I don't really need an
like,
excuse.
But
He figured out how to do it on accident.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, what I gather from it, what I think they're saying is that calling on Khonshu's power, like opening up to Khonshu's power, it manifests in a suit of sorts that has Khonshu's abilities.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
I don't necessarily think that it has to be the Moon Knight costume in order to get the
that's
abilities. Because you see Steven when he's in the Mr. Knight, like the first thing you see almost is him trying to get up on that piece of metal on the car, like the front bumper, and completely crush it.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's immediately like he does have the same powers as Mark, but he does not know how to harness it the same way.
And when they're talking about it a little bit later, he's like, "You told me to get a suit." He goes, "I meant the ceremonial armor that was in Khonshu's tomb." So like clearly, when Mark got possessed or became his avatar, he saw the ceremonial armor and was like, "That's the guy.
Yeah.
That's what I want to look like when I'm fighting crime." Like,
Yeah.
So that's you probably get to choose kind of like how you transform.
Yeah, that's
and
what
I
I
heard.
heard. Like,
I heard some criticism that I hated
about
and I thought was
Mr.
very
Knight?
that was very like short-sighted. That they were like, oh god, it's like a cheap Deadpool they're trying to do. And I'm like, the only thing you have is that like it's a solid face mask with CGI eyes who's being goofy. But they're goofy for totally different reasons.
They're not the same.
It's a white fucking, like, not three-piece suit, but it's a white suit.
Yeah, they were just saying like the face looks similar and he's like being a silly crime fighter, but like
he's not being silly.
He's a Deadpool is sarcastic because he knows what he's doing and he can be silly while he knows what he's doing. Steven has no idea what he's doing, and he gets a burst of self-confidence because he happened to like realize that he's got some power now, so he's just like on this whole power trip. And it's like,
I think that's the main distinction. I think that's the main distinction of Deadpool when he's being silly. It's because, as we know, Deadpool breaks the fourth wall, so he has a sense of self-awareness that all other characters don't. So he almost is being silly for like the viewer's sake.
That's
Oscar Isaac. His Stephen Grant is not purposefully being silly.
No, he's trying to be cool.
And that's why it works.
That's
why it works. Because Stephen Grant is, in his mind, looking like the coolest motherfucker out there. Oh, God. And he's like, I look so cool right now. Yeah. Look at me go. And it's that dichotomy that makes us laugh. And I think because we're like, you look absurd right now.
I think
we love it.
Part of why his suit came the way it did, because he was trying to, like, maybe in his mind look the part for Layla.
Yeah.
Because he might be
look good. Yeah.
And then, like, with Deadpool, we laugh with him, we laughing at.
Yeah.
Well, also, we have to remember at this point, Steven has never seen the Moon Knight costume that Mark wears.
Yeah.
He's never seen it. Yeah. He's been behind the wall.
So when she says suit, he's thinking,
true, yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, he doesn't even have a frame of reference of like, oh, I need it to look like Mark's suit, because he has never been in control and cognizant when Mark has been in his suit.
Yeah.
So he's never seen it before.
Yeah.
So yeah, he wouldn't know.
Also love that he tries to get like the fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee thing, but he doesn't get the right. It bugged the crap out of me the first time I heard it, and then I realized it was intentional, that he doesn't finish he doesn't fit into the meter. Like, fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I'm Steven with a V, and it doesn't go as long as it should. There should be like 2 or 3 more syllables, but there aren't. And I was just like, what are you doing, man? You can't even like.
You can't even say the phrase right.
Yeah, it was like the meter's not correct.
I feel like
it's a great choice.
We watched the episode twice.
Yeah.
I feel like I almost loved it more the second time.
Okay. Well, yeah, the first time they'd thrown all types of.
I mean, it was just, but I was enamored the first time too, because as you said, they're giving you just enough answers and just enough questions that you just want to keep going on this journey. But the Arthur Harrow scene with the lentil soup scene, as it's been being called on the Reddits and stuff. I think that was my highlight for like overall impressions. That entire, I mean,
we learned a lot.
What is it?
Is he telling you to kill me? Yeah.
I think the when he's like the child is not a diseased limb.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That's the shit that got to me. He's like,
that was a really weird moment to see Steven like just be like pretty straight up for the first time.
Sometimes
and like this whole thing where he's like, I don't think that's weird to say. That's not cool.
Well, one of the best things too that Oscar Isaac's been doing, because like, you know, this Moon Knight is kind of an absurd character. Like he's not a Steve Rogers. He's not like a straight lace, you know, he's a little bit kooky and weird and odd, but Oscar Isaac is putting in these small, with Steven especially, these small little like beautifully tender moments where, you know, he's saying, I wonder if Khonshu chose you because your mind was so easy to break, or if it was because you were already broken. And Steven,
who said that?
So Arthur Harrow, when he first gets him out of the car, they see Khonshu behind him. That's what he's talking about, like, it must be so hard with all those voices in your head, you, Mark, Khonshu, and he tells him, I wonder if that's why Khonshu chose you as your avatar, because he knew your mind would be so easy to break, or because he knew you were already broken. And Steven, they give just such a breath at that moment where he says, I'm not broken, I just need help. And it was like, and we pretty quickly moved on from that too. Like, they gave just enough time for that moment to sink in. But then Arthur Harrow was like, well, come with me, you know, we'll continue the conversation. Right. So they didn't, it's not like they were like, look at this moment. You know, if you could have missed it easily. Yeah. But Oscar Isaac was just so genuine in that moment. Yeah. It really stuck with me. It was so good.
Yeah, he's doing a phenomenal job.
He's
I mean, we
doing
mix
such a
between these two characters who are like, well, I won't say polar opposites, but
Yeah.
I mean, Steven ain't no punk. Like,
Yeah.
as far as bottom line, when like a person that has heart, like he has heart.
He has heart.
That's
He's
why
just,
when he
yeah.
said about the kids, he's like, well, I'm not.
He's
with the
just a
killing
little
kids and
socially
shit like
awkward.
that. So, you know,
I know.
I think, you know, if it came down to it, like, he would protect Layla if he could.
And he did.
Yeah.
You
Best
know,
of
when he
his
stepped up,
ability.
he was in the
did.
suit. He stepped
Yeah.
up.
And then, like,
He
said,
said,
he
"I
ain't
think I
killing
can."
kids. He has moral.
Yeah.
His moral compass is in the right
Yeah.
spot. People like that, he ain't dangerous, but like he can be a threat. Like, or he can
Yeah.
be a force to fight
Yeah.
back. He ain't, you know. But
There was a.
okay.
I'm really looking forward to. Just seeing. We saw a lot more in the second episode, but the physical differences between Mark and Steven. Like, just in. We actually got to see Mark walking around and, like, being Mark for a little while.
That's why you cast.
And you could instantly tell that it was Mark. So I'm really hoping in, like, the next 4 episodes that we get, there are parts where maybe we're following Layla and she's got to, like, whoop some ass somewhere. And then she comes back and we don't know who's in charge. And it'll clearly just rely on Oscar Isaac. Like, you're standing there looking at him, you're like, that's Steven. Like, I'm so excited to, like, look and be like, that's Steven. Oh, now he's Mark. Like, you can see,
even,
like, yeah,
like,
you can
shoulders
totally
maybe,
see the difference
The
between the two.
CCTV footage.
Even when he
The
walks out.
CCTV footage is the perfect example of
Oh,
JB
when he
going.
came
Yeah, when he
back out.
walks out, he looks
Yeah.
at the screen.
JB
He's just
going,
like,
well, that's you,
"That's
isn't
not
it?"
me.
And he goes,
Like,
"That's not me."
That's not me.
Yeah, you can see it in his eyes. It's
Yeah.
not him.
Yes.
Also,
man.
I wanted to talk about a weird parallel that happened between Morbius and the second episode of Moon Knight.
Uh-oh.
They both had scenes with long hallways and lights
Yes.
that only turn on when you pass
When I was
them.
watching him, I was like, "What you doing?" I blame Morbius. I was like, "What you doing, Morbius?"
Because which would I
The lights
see
like,
first?
dun, dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun.
I was like, why would you design it that way? I mean, I guess it would save power, but this is dumb. And then I saw it in Moon Knight and I was like, they're doing that shit again.
Places are like that.
Are they really?
Yeah,
Because they only have the motion sensitive in front of the.
I've never
the
worked in a
storage
place like
unit
that. That is so weird.
But I know hospitals, yeah, definitely, because they try to save the energy.
mean,
on certain floors, though.
They're operating on a
Yeah.
But yeah, that
different
was,
margin. But yeah,
So that was a lot of in detail overall impression.
But they did a great. I think they did it better in Moon Knight than they did in Morbius.
How can we help it?
Morbius. Yeah. Okay. I like when Layla and Steve were on the bike. He didn't know where to put his hand.
Oh yeah, stop putting your hand on my shoulder. So
He's like,
fun. Where do I put it?
I didn't appreciate the shady ass detectives. Get the fuck out of my house. Don't just be busting in my door.
Yeah.
Well, you knew immediately they weren't detectives,
Hell
and
no,
they did a
man.
brilliant job of that.
Oh man. They
And it
just
was
snatching stuff out of my bag. What is going on? I'm not going with y'all nowhere. First of all, hold on,
They-
get your hands on me. But
so they tried to do it with a bunch of context in this in the show, but Layla, her biggest like kudo that she gets, like first she found him, like she traced his phone,
yeah.
found him, and
He finally turned it on.
immediately where he was, and then cops bust in. She dips.
Yes.
She's smart enough to get the hell out of there,
I like her pants.
and then she
Her whole outfit was great.
she walks in
Great.
to the freaking the cult place, just straight up like,
Yes.
hey, what's up, idiots?
Yes.
I'm here. She whoops that guy's butt. And that's all, like, proving that she's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest kudos she gets is, like, Khonshu being like, yeah, man, that Layla, she'd be a great avatar. And it was like,
Yeah,
so
like,
he thinks
Who my next average? Who my
he
next
is,
whatever gonna
she
be. I
is
was like,
as
oh.
good, if not better than Mark,
Mm-hmm.
as far as, like, being an ass kicker.
Yeah.
So,
Because what do you say? You might not like
yeah, as near and dear she is to you. And it was like, you know exactly what I'm
You ain't
talking
had no
about.
words. I like you ain't no words for that. But what you gonna say though? But that made me think. I was wondering, has it been said? Maybe I missed it. But did Mark have a? I mean, prior to Khonshu, one of them died or whatever. You know, was it? Is Mark the primary personality who has?
So, in comics, yeah.
Steven is, you know.
And that's what we're thinking is I wonder if the trauma of dying and like becoming Moon Knight after that
And Layla didn't
created, because we don't know if
the trauma dying created the personalities.
maybe we don't know. That's the fun thing.
I mean, that's what you were saying.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Because like
So he wouldn't have had a personality thing prior to dying.
I don't know. I just don't
I
know.
think he did.
All right, but Layla probably didn't know about it. He tried to keep it under wraps.
So my thing is because like people are trying to say how long has Steven been there,
Yeah.
but it's very, I mean, like we said, they threw a lot at you in this episode. There were a lot of details, but Steven has been with Mark as a personality, at least as long as Mark has been resurrected, because Khonshu and their agreement, they said it a bit in the Mark said it a bit in the first episode, and Khonshu said it that their deal was contingent upon Steven not getting in the way. So I believe that Mark himself had DID before being resurrected by Khonshu.
Yeah, and then when he came to him, he was like, "Yeah, but you got this." You're like, "Not in control of that. Don't worry about that."
Yeah,
he just pops up every so often and just shut him down.
Yeah, but I think one of the things... Sorry, Nate, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But one of the things that we were just talking about last night is... It is interesting because in the comics, Mark is the main personality. Right. We follow Mark in the comics. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the smart choices they made to put Stephen Grant as our point of view character these first couple episodes is because he became a really smart tool for the audience to learn as he learned.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because if Mark, we come in and obviously he already has the powers because we know from, the setup of his room and the bed and the loft. Yeah. But because Steven is like an unreliable narrator in that sense, we're able to learn about Mark, about Khonshu without it feeling like here's some exposition.
Yeah.
Like and so and now and now that I feel like we have that exposition, it really does feel like we're going to be with Mark for the rest of this by how we left off at the end of episode 2.
Which is an interesting way to present it to the audience, especially the audience that's not familiar with the character, because they're like, well, what about Steven? I thought he was the
he was our guy,
head person, and then we saw Game of Thrones. People die and disappear all the time. So
also, they must have. You don't realize it till the end of the second episode, but Oscar Isaac put on some muscle for this role. As I was like, when we were rewatching it, we watched the first episode as well. And it was like, man, they really put you in some puffy jackets and some ill-fitting suits just to make sure nobody knew you were ripped under there.
Yeah.
Like, the posture helps, but, like, it's not until we see him,
changes for Steven and...
no, I'm just think...
You're just saying, like, they didn't reveal
Steven doesn't know how to dress. He doesn't know how to, like, buy a shirt that shows off that he has a physique.
Then he wakes up on the floor with his shirt off.
Yeah, and then like he's like sipping the thing, and he gets up. You see all his back muscles are like, damn.
Where are they at?
Not complaining.
Look at that.
Are they in Alibaba? Where are they at?
Oh, they're in Egypt for sure. I mean, that's the thing is like he's like, where do we have to go to find this Egyptian tomb?
I can't wait.
And then Khonshu's like, what the hell do you think, man? Egypt. We're going to Egypt.
Sure.
Can I do a weird tangent? So. It's really quick. But I was doing some research. I mean, obviously I didn't watch Sonic, so I slacked on that. But I was doing some other research and, like, articles and podcasts about the show. And apparently in the credits, they have, like, a credited Egyptologist and, like, an Egyptian consultant for a lot of the things in the show. Cool. And that's so one of the interesting things is apparently, I mean, I didn't know this. I've never had the ability to go to Egypt and visit. But in most movies, the pyramids are out in the desert, completely like
I've seen this.
empty, around nothing around them. But in actual Cairo and Egypt, current day, it really is like it is buttressed against the city.
Yeah,
they're right in the backyard of the main city hub, which is exactly how it is in Moon Knight.
Yeah, like Transformers or something like that. Like,
they're like completely far removed. Like the pyramids are nowhere near any civilization, and in the real world, that's not how it is. That's more accurate.
See, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you had the tangent because I peeped that and I was like, why are they so close to that? I was like, is this wrong? Is it just a Marvel thing? I guess.
No, apparently that is how it's reflected in real life.
Nice.
When you go and visit.
That was like a meme I saw.
So interesting.
A couple of years ago, but it was like this is where most people shoot the pyramids from, and it had like literally it had the camera. It showed the camera guy in profile, and then it turned over, saw the pyramids, and he goes, "Here's what you don't see." And he walked in front of the camera, and you just saw the bustling town behind him, and he was like, "Yeah." It was just so funny. It was like, it really is a whole town just right next door.
That's what's up.
Great.
So people just living out there looking at the pyramids. Huh?
Yep.
All day. That's what your backyard looks like.
There are security around there, I'm sure, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look up something too. I swear.
There was
not being rude.
Speaking of the pyramids and such, the museum, and the girl at the museum. People were wondering, is that third personality, because who asked her out?
Who asked her out? We don't know.
So
it definitely wasn't Mark.
I don't think it would be Mark.
So it wasn't Mark.
Mark is married.
Mark's got a girl, and he's still very attached to her. Clearly,
he ain't got the time for that.
Yeah, he's a super spy.
And then we know, Steven and
Steven ain't gonna do it.
So there's gonna be a third one And there are 5 personalities. I think he has 5 personalities in the
5,
comics, right?
yeah.
So we covered 4 of them so far.
But now Mr. Knight and Steven are combined in the show. Whereas
Moon Knight and Mark are combined as well, right? They're
but
not
Mr.
separate.
Knight and Steven are separate in the comics.
So there could be 2 more people they present?
We don't know. Yeah. It's fun.
And there's one other thing, and I wonder what y'all think. And it could be nothing, but it's something I've been thinking about. What the hell's up with Golden Statue, dude? Who is he? Is he going to be somebody important?
Oh,
what's he doing?
We do know that.
You do know that?
We do know that.
You know, because
the internet knows that.
Oh, the internet knows
it? The internet knows it.
I don't like to look. I like to just take. I'm going to soak it up, and I'm going to take it for what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just tell y'all what I think and everything.
Yeah.
I'm going to let these guys, I'm going to let these two, they'll do all the digging for the dirt. And tell me about dirt. Tell me about dirt. What's up?
So basically, he's credited, I can't remember the name right now, but he's a character from the comics.
Okay.
The name he's credited as. And he's basically like, he's an informant for Moon Knight. It's kind of like a street level guy, and he tells Mark the kind of goings on around the town, which is perfect for being a mime and just sitting there. And
what Steven's doing?
In the comics he tells Mark what's going on, and
what's going on with Steven, or just what's going on?
No, just going on in the city.
In the city.
So he'd probably be an informant.
So he's
Mark
credited.
To tell him what Steven's doing when
he's credited as that character in the show.
There we go. Okay.
So it could be interesting if they want to like reveal that the Golden Man was talking to Mark and being like, "Hey, Mark, Steven was here the other day and he was telling me some shit."
Everything.
Yeah. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll touch on like why Steven confides in him and uses him as a journal and everything too.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just an instinct from being a farmer. That's dope though. I like it. I like it and I'll take it. Yes. I was also curious watching the show. What are the extent of Arthur's powers from Amit? Because he bringing jackals up out the ground. What else can he do?
Yeah,
I wonder. Can he fight? He got
and
hands.
the magic is
hands?
purple. We had a big debate last week about color-coded magic. We are back again for part 2, color-coded magic, baby.
So what's this color mean? What's this color?
We don't know. I mean, we don't officially know.
Yeah, we don't know.
But people were wondering if he's drawing power from the dark dimension.
The dark dimension, all right. Because it's purple.
Because it's purple. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what Caecilius' power looked like in the first Doctor Strange.
I wonder if we'll be able to see Khonshu versus Amit.
And Agatha Harkness's
maybe
purple
over top of
magic.
That's true, but hers is just standard magic. That was the whole thing, is that hers is standard magic and red is chaos magic.
When the witches were taking her power,
they weren't using purple. No, it wasn't. It was just Agatha once she turned on them and turned on her coven.
Yeah, but hers is a standard type of magic, whereas
so they're trying to use chaos magic to take her out? We're talking about WandaVision now.
No, is the fact that Wanda uses chaos magic and the other witches used a different type of magic.
Yeah, but what we're saying is the other witches didn't have the purple color.
Yeah, but I'm just saying
Agatha.
The purple magic isn't special in any way.
Why are we arguing about this again? What I'm trying to say is Agatha specifically turns down a dark path by betraying her coven, and that is when her magic manifests as purple. So what I'm saying is, I'm trying to agree with you when you're arguing with me. It lines up to the fact that she could also be pulling from a darker source of magic than the other coven members.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
I have to watch it again.
I got to too.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I had said nothing about chaos magic. We know chaos magic's good.
What our big argument was when we were watching this episode was at the end. What's the guy's name with the cane? What's his name?
Arthur Harrow.
Arthur.
Yeah.
So Arthur walks up to that homeless man who'd picked up the scarab, and he says, "Hey, friend, I can offer you."
Just kill
food
him.
and I can offer you shelter, but I can't let you have that. And he takes it, holds his hand, and then he dies.
Sorry, you're not going to be able to see.
The world we create.
But here's the question we were having, and like the argument, well, not argument, but like discussion we got into was my reading of the scene was that he judged him, because he offered him food, shelter, and then he held his hand, and then he died. So I was like, did he do the scale thing and judge him? Like, does he need the cane and all of like the theatrics of it, or can he just literally touch you and judge you right there?
The cane? You think he needs the cane?
I don't think
That's what we were discussing.
I think
we don't think he needs the cane.
I think he judged him where Mariah thinks he might have a different power where he can just kill you if he wants to.
I think he judged him there too.
Yeah, I think he judged him.
Because like when he was saying about the kids and stuff, and he was like, the diseased limb, and like you got it, like the cure is the poison. Sometimes the cure has poison and all that. I think like if he randomly touched anybody in the streets or something like that, and he finds out that you're not going to be good in the future, he's like, oh.
But I guess we had a lengthy discussion discussing this, but it's not even the sense of like, did he judge him or did he not judge him? Arthur Harrow's character from this point has been trying to put his morality on a pedestal, and like he has the higher morality of the people around him. And so from this point, we have not seen him judge anyone unless they were willing. He always says, like, are you willing to accept the scales no matter what they lie? So that's what I'm saying, is that this man, if he did judge him and it was false and that was what caused him to take his life force, the sense of morality that he's touting is still not there. Because this man who just picked up a scarab, found himself in the path of Arthur Harrow, most likely in that 2 seconds we saw in an interchange with him, did not ask to be judged. Did not want to be a part of this cult. Did not believe in Amit the way the people in Switzerland did.
I'll have to watch it again.
I think it could be just for like the cult thing, and him like asking people to step forward just for show or just for them. He's out there by himself. No one around except like Layla saw him.
Yeah.
Like,
and the cane gives him powers. I don't necessarily think, I think you are absolutely right, where the swinging of the cane, even maybe the tattoo of the scales, is completely for show.
Yeah, that might be for show.
Because I think that he has the powers of like opening the portal, summoning the jackal. I think he might have more power at his discretion than he lets on.
Yeah, because he could, the judging might be, he probably can kill everybody.
That's what I'm thinking.
And that's why Amit chose him.
I don't think so.
You don't think he has a power already?
No. Well, I think the judging is coming from Amit, right?
Yes.
I think that is coming from Amit because
that power.
He's so genuine in that first episode where he does the. I mean, he might just be a really good actor, and that's part of who Arthur is.
People who
but like he does the thing, and he like it goes green, and he's like, "This is a good man," and he's like having a really like passionate response to that, and they're like, "I believe you." Like, at least as a viewer, I was like, I believe that Arthur really cares, like, about his mission. Like, he really cares about these people.
But the people who get scaled the other way gotta go, though.
Yeah, and like he loves them as well, but he's like, yeah, sorry, you gotta go.
But I do think when he touched them, maybe something. When he touched the homeless guy, it could be something that's out of his control. Like, all right, you've been judged. I can't just let this guy walk away.
So that's the question.
Because he told him, I'll give you shelter and money. I think he really would give him shelter and money. I want to
watch it again. Maybe
probably gave him some money and let him walk off.
I want to watch it again.
He didn't have to judge him.
And see if the guy says yes. If he like offers him food, offers him shelter.
No, he
doesn't say anything.
No,
it just doesn't say anything.
It is within like a couple second span of time. He is grabbing the scarab as he's saying that I have shelter, I have food, and then the second he has the scarab out of the man's grasp, he says, "I'm sorry, you won't be alive to see the world recreate," and then the man immediately falls.
Yeah, I need to see or get an answer if he judged him or not. Because I mean,
they didn't show.
Because like,
I think they purposely did not show.
Yeah. See, more questions.
I need answers. I need answers if he judged him or not. Because that would be a really interesting.
If he didn't, I wouldn't say like if he didn't judge him and he killed him.
If he does just have that power, that would be interesting for him to have. Because now we know like Steven or Mark can't touch him.
Yeah.
Or at least can't let him get a hand on him.
He did, remember?
Yeah, but he didn't want to then. I'm just saying.
He was still curious about what was happening there.
I thought he tried to judge him and it just wouldn't do anything.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Saying like if he has the power.
If he didn't judge him and he can just kill you,
gotcha.
Now we really need to know that Mark or Steven can't let him get a hand on him or they're screwed.
Yeah.
Because that'll change things if he could just do that.
So Arthur isn't in the comics?
He is.
Arthur Harrow is a minor character in the comics.
With no powers?
With no powers. And they made him the avatar of Amit.
Okay.
In this show.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you have any theories? Do we already break down all the theories we have going forward? Those all theories.
I mean, we did kind of go on a run. We went on a tear there.
We talked about everything, yeah.
But
I'm still loving the show.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where it's gonna go. I don't know, and I'm just along for the ride, man. I'm so excited.
Now it's gonna be like an Indy Jones style.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how all of it plays out because, like, we can't trust Arthur at all. No. He's awful. And also from talking to Arthur and talking to Mark, you can't trust Khonshu that much, because it's always one more thing, and then immediately in the next scene when Mark's talking to Khonshu, he does that exact thing, like, oh, don't worry, you like the jobs I have for you, they're good, you like these things,
the blood on his hands.
Yeah, and then he threatens him immediately, like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this, and he's like, yeah, but the next person I use might not be, so then you have to stay as my avatar.
I think one of
so like no one can be trusted, and now Steven really hates Mark.
Yeah,
that whole discussion
there,
they had.
Man.
Yeah, he locked him in the mirror and everything. And
that literally segues into what I was going to bring up, because I was like, one of the other interesting things that it seems like they'll give us the answer, and I hope we get the answer, is Mark telling Steven that, I'm sorry, up until now we've been able to keep a wall between us.
Yeah.
And which again makes it seem like Steven has been around Mark's entire life.
Right,
I think Mark does have DID. Right. But it's really interesting, because the question is, what did change? Because it seems at this point Mark doesn't even know what changed. Mark, Steven, no one knows why this wall that kind of separated their consciousness hasn't been there. It pretty much seemed like you were just out when you were out of the light, or like how Split says it, out of the light. But now you're almost fly on the wall. You have enough consciousness to feel trapped.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
I think now that Steven has like used some of Khonshu's power, now he is strong enough to be that fly on the wall, whereas before he would just black out.
That's an interesting theory.
Because that's kind of what Mark was saying. He's like, it takes a lot of concentration and power just to be a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
And so now I think Steven has grown strong enough that he is at least aware of the world when he's not in control of the body. Whereas before he would just black out.
Yeah, and not see nothing.
And I don't know if you noticed it, but in that last scene where it shows Mark walking up to the curtains and opening them after taking a swig from the bottle, it starts on the mirror.
Yeah.
And it's Steven in the mirror.
Steven in the cracked
and he's
mirror.
like confused, and then there's just this look of like pure venom over to Mark, and it's like, that's gonna be you guys are gonna have to work that out. It's gonna be a real like Hulk Bruce Banner situation.
Yeah, man. Well, I don't think he can take over unless.
Oh no, I'm sure he can't. But there's gonna be.
So when do we get back to Steven then? When will Mark let his guard down? Like when can?
But they were talking about, the director was saying that he wanted to film these because there's 6 episodes. He wanted to film like 3 individual movies. So I'm wondering if like first movie is mostly about Steven,
right?
Second movie, episode 3 and 4, kind of mostly about Mark, and then maybe we'll get more personalities along the way and they'll take over later. But I don't know.
Only got 6 episodes, right?
I think we're gonna be very Mark heavy for the next couple episodes.
Can I do a nerd moment to
sure.
share with you
What'd
both?
you find?
So I can't take credit for this. I listened to that podcast Ringerverse, and so Joanna Robinson, who's one of the people, she's been doing like a little Egyptology corner where she'll bring up stuff every week. They talk about the episode about different things. So Marvel, devil in the details. I would have never guessed this, but she had been scouring like the Reddits, right?
All right.
Apparently, the glyphs on the scarab beetle that are the compass are actual hieroglyphs.
Okay.
They are translatable hieroglyphs.
Oh, well,
and so the people who have Egyptology degrees on Reddit went to it. They actually transcribed the interpretation. So the translation of the full text is, O Khepri, who dwells in his sacred bark, the primeval one himself, you rescue Osiris Amenhotep, justified. And apparently that is from the actual Book of the Dead.
What the hell?
And they're saying that I think one of the reasons they use that verse is because it ends with justified and the sense of justice, where the main overarching plot is whose justice is better.
I am true justice. Is he saying he's true justice? Like, I love that.
Khonshu judging and basically delivering justice after a crime has been committed, and Amit delivering justice before a crime has been committed. So I was just like floored that, of course, Marvel, and I think it's because they had that Egyptology and that Egyptian consultant on the show, that apparently they're saying too that there are glyphs on his Mark's Moon Knight costume.
That's what I was like.
And so the Moon Knight Reddit is apparently trying to get as many screen grabs of that as they can to translate
see
those
as much as possible.
Because
what was the first line?
So the first line is, O Khepri, who dwells in his sacred bark, the primeval one himself, you rescue Osiris Amenhotep, justified.
Interesting. So primeval one?
The primeval one himself.
All right.
So interesting. Like, that is why they have lasted as long as they have, because they take such care. It's so good.
It's interesting though. I don't know if you got flashbacks, but when he was like, what's the other god's name? Amet. He's like, Amet judges them before they can cause any harm. Yeah. And I immediately flashed back to Captain America, Winter Soldier, when
Red Skull.
No, when he's talking to Fury, and he's like, yeah, we got these new things on our helicarriers, and we could take out guys before they can even do something bad. And he's like, thought the punishment came after the crime. And it was like, that's all I could think of. I was like, oh, they've touched on this before.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I mean, in Arthur's character, people can argue his case too. And I'm with that. We gotta get rid of him before,
That's why he's a compelling villain, though, too.
That's the hard part.
That's why. Right. Because is he saying, is he telling lies? No. Is it completely skewed and fucked up? Yeah, it really is. But it's not that he's evil for evil's sake.
Yep.
It's the classic, do you strangle baby Hitler?
Dear God.
Problem.
Well, Deadpool does.
Like an Endgame with Don Cheadle. He's just like, yeah, why don't we go back and baby Thanos and we just...
Yeah.
So good. And they're like, ew, that's horrible. No.
Right. You gotta do what you gotta do.
He's like,
But that's why it's such a compelling question, because it's come up before, it's come up in the past, it'll come up in the future. It's
yes.
So excited.
Bringing the questions.
So excited.
Bring the questions. Keep doing what y'all doing.
Oscar Isaac, keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, yeah.